morning, everybody. I'm Jason White. I'm with the Wildlife and Fisheries Committee. I'm like the regional representative for the Farm Bureau, so if I haven't met you, nice to meet you. I've seen some new faces, some old faces, so happy to have everybody. This is obviously an important day for not only the Farm Bureau, but us bonding the sporting community and farmers and addressing crop damage and addressing inflation and a lot of other things, so I appreciate everybody being here. I want to acknowledge our sponsors because we had an event last night and then we have two of these sessions today. Thank you to the Fayette County Farm Bureau, Fayette County Republican Committee, Americans for Prosperity, Joseph Ross, My Realty One Group, Brian Patel, the Financial Outfitter, Laurel Hill Trout Farm, 10 Mile Creek Outfitters, Wild Acres Farm Fishery and Hunting Preserve, and Pennsylvania Game Commission. I'd also like to acknowledge State Representative Charity Krupa is here in the room. She's in the back. And she's sitting next to Thursa Kraus, which is Ryan Warner's office, State Representative Ryan Warner's office, so thank you to both of them. Charity's extremely involved, just for those that do not know, in a lot of stuff right now, I would say outdoor oriented and also permitting. So certainly if you do not know her, she's a great person to meet and to know that's making an impact in Pennsylvania. And Ryan is the head of the, is it Sportsman's Caucus? So he's a huge outdoorsman as well and a farmer. So both of them are tremendous resources. So please get to know everybody. They're here at your disposal. That being said, I'm going to turn it over to Andy Bader. He's the chairman of the Wildlife and Fisheries Committee. And again, thank you everybody for being here.
I have a microphone. Well, good morning. It's great to be here. And this is really exciting for me. This is the start of a partnership between farmers and hunters that actually has been in existence for a long period of time, but it is something that has needed a little bit of care because we as a community have not had the connections in place that we always we should have had. For instance, I have farmers that tell me they have a difficult time finding hunters, and I just talked to a hunter who's going to be losing his hunting ability on a farm because that farm has transitioned to another owner. And so this program that the Game Commission is putting together will help bridge that gap, provide an opportunity for a farmer to know that the person that knocks on the door is a good person and be confident that that person will come and hunt and be appropriate as to the stewardship of that farmer's land. And similarly, to provide an opportunity for hunters to know where they can go and where they're going to be welcome. And there's really nothing better than that, being welcomed when you go to someone's home or their land and know that you're actually wanted there. So I'm really thrilled about what we're doing here today. The first program here this morning and the program tonight, it's the result of a lot of conversations with the legislature and the Game Commission, who I also thank for their push to make this happen. And with no further ado, I want to pass it off to President Hoffman from Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, who's also been shepherding these programs through from the legislative perspective, both from the state of Pennsylvania perspective and nationally.
Thank you, Andy, and wow, it's great to see all of you here this morning. Wasn't sure exactly how many people would show up for an 8 o'clock meeting. Most of the farmers are up way before this, but it's good to see all of you here and not too many smiling faces. Come on, you guys can smile a little bit. This is a good thing that we're doing today. But no, it is a privilege to be here and to really be able to lay out some programs and some things that we're doing through a lot of conversations. I want to thank Andy as our chair of our Game and Fisheries Committee and then his committee, as well as Jason White. Jason White's been really shepherding this in this part of the region. And this is kind of the pilot program. This is to make sure that we have success as we move forward, because from the Farm Bureau's perspective, it's all about giving farmers the tools that they need to be able to help put their farm back in balance, right, from a wildlife perspective. And so this is the first step, right, of many steps that we're going to be putting together and offering to be able to help you guys as you think about how you mitigate and how you work with your partners to be able to have an opportunity to take some of that imbalance and put it back into a place where you can show a profit and that we can kind of work with our communities to really grow. And And I think that there's a lot of great things that are coming as we think about where we go here in the future. And so I thank you all for being here, for your interest and in your partnership, because it's going to take all of you when you leave here to talk about what we're doing, right? To be able to tell more people about the opportunity. It's good to see Randy here from Hunter Sharing the Harvest. We're going to be hopefully using his organization to be able to help with taking some of the abundance of deer off of your land and being able to get them into a food bank in the future, because I think that's what we need to do as Pennsylvanians, is help feed those around us. So it's exciting for me to see this relationship continue to grow with the Game Commission here. And I will say PDA, Secretary Redding has been 100% supportive of what we're trying to do and trying to nurture this program as well. So, we have a lot of partners here. We have hunter organizations that have come together with us. These are things that haven't happened 3-4 years ago that are now coming together to really make all this possible. So I'm excited about what we have to offer, what we're doing. If you're not a Farm Bureau member, I've always got to plug membership. But if you're not a Farm Bureau member, you want to be a member so you can hear the newest and greatest things that we're doing with the Game Commission, with the hunting groups around Pennsylvania. And as we grow these programs, it's going to get more and more exciting and more opportunities. And hopefully we can get the younger hunters to come back in and really be part of the success of managing Pennsylvania wildlife. So it's an honor for me to actually introduce a young guy who's really in charge of some of these new innovative programs. And at this point in time, I'm going to introduce Tyler Strohecker from Schuylkill County, right? Schuylkill County?
Good old Skook.
Yeah, and he's going to give you some of the new programs and talk a little bit about some of the changes that we've had to the DMAP and the Ag Tag program. So, Tyler, it's all yours. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Chris. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
It's great to be here. Thanks, Jason, for the forum and for setting this up, and for everybody coming out this morning. I'm excited to be here, and I see some familiar faces out there, some folks we've talked to, so it's great to see you all. For the new faces, again, I'm Tyler Strohecker. I'm our Landowner Engagement Manager for the Pennsylvania Game Commission. So I'm here today. We're going to talk about some of the programs that we have that have been existing right now with the Game Commission. But really, we're going to focus, at least my efforts here, on our new program, which is the Certified Hunter Program. And this program, I'm proud of where we're at to this point. I can say the only reason it exists is through conversations that we've had with the folks in this room, between Chris and our Executive Director, Steve Smith, the partnerships we've had with the Farm Bureau. In working through that, obviously we recognize there's a problem, particularly here in the Southwest region. And we kind of put our heads together and said, what would a solution look like, and how quickly could we stand a solution up? So this program, I'll start by saying it's not going to solve every issue. It's not even fully baked out to this point. I think we have a great framework and a great start. How I'm looking at it is we're kind of on a journey here to get where we need to be. Chris mentioned the word balance. I think that's a great way to look at it. I think right now we're out of balance. So how do we get that balance back? We don't want to swing any pendulum too hard, but we do recognize that in some cases it's an emergency out here and it needs to be addressed as soon as possible. So we had the opportunity to speak at the Washington County Farm Bureau meeting late February, early March. And I think there's a couple people in here that were at that one. So that program was about 24 hours old at that point. So hopefully it's a little more baked out to this point from what we had in February. But when we went back from that meeting, we spoke at headquarters about a rollout and what it would look like. And truthfully, pretty much everybody's like, we got to do this in 2026. It's going to take longer than 2 months to stand this program up. How do we impact anything for the start of Ag Tag in August 1st, especially when we looked at geography and what we wanted to do. And ultimately, we decided we can't wait. We're going to do everything we can for 2025. So this program is scheduled to start August 1st. So we got about 60 days, give or take, until this goes out. But I'm telling you that just so if it seems like, hey, we don't have every question answered to this point, that's why. We've had a couple months. We're working on trying to get regulation put together and permitting, and there's a lot of back-end IT work that's way over my head, but that our BATS team and our IT team has been trying to put together as quickly as possible. But there is a process there, and we're doing the best we can. We have the support of our executive leadership. We are doing everything we can, truthfully, to try to get this out August 1st. So I'm confident it's going to make a difference, but I'm also going to ask for your grace a little bit as we continue to build it. So I'm just going to pull this up. I'm not sure if we'll be able to see it too well or not, but if not, it's all good. So the Certified Hunter program at its core is really an outreach program. It's a link program. I was speaking with our regional director out here, Jason Farbaugh, and we tried a link program back in the 90s, I believe it was. Is that right? A little earlier than that. It didn't work very well. It was designed to try to link landowners that had deer damage issues with hunters, but we didn't have the benefit of technology. Not everybody had a cell phone and internet and different things like that. So I like to think this program does have a lot of those aspects incorporated in it. How do we link the right hunters to the right landowners and use hunting as a solution to balance this out? So we sat down with some of you and some other landowners and said, we know deer damage is the issue, but what are some of the problems that you're having specifically? And the common themes we heard were not enough hunters. We heard some of the hunters we have frankly aren't good hunters, so they're not harvesting a lot of deer. We heard, well, with the ag tag program, I give out 4 of my ag tags, and then I see that hunter maybe one time, maybe they harvest a doe, and I don't see them again. So there's 3 or 4 tags that went to waste, and my farm wasn't hunted. We also heard that, I opened up to public hunting, and now I have 2 bullet holes in my barn, or somebody left the gate open and my cattle got out, or my field got rutted up. I mean, insert issue here, we heard it. And unfortunately, one bad apple spoils the bunch. Now you don't have public hunting, and land access continues to restrict for our hunters. We also heard technology was an issue, even a bigger issue than I would have thought. We heard farmers had a desire to utilize technology for getting tagged animals off their property and getting better report cards. Does everybody in here that's in ag tag, do you have a clear idea of how many deer are taken off your farm each and every year? Not really. See some of you maybe do. We heard that was an issue too. I don't know what the success rate of the hunters on my farm is. I don't know how often they're hunting my farm, and I don't know how many deer are ultimately getting harvested. So it's very difficult for you to even understand the success of a program if you're not getting those report cards. So that was something we wanted to solve for. And then the other kind of theme we heard was how do we spread out pressure and hunting. We heard that as soon as ag tag comes in, I'll get some trucks, I'll have some people come in the first week of August, and then a lot of times I won't see them down the line, or I certainly won't see them in January, February, March, and different things of that nature. So those were the common themes we looked to solve here this year for the Certified Hunter program. And then we went and talked to hunters. And that's the other side of this equation. Hunters, why are you not hunting these ag tag farms? We'll go to the sports show or the farm show or anything, and we obviously have a booth there. And it's kind of funny, well, not funny, but it's disappointing sometimes where we'll have a landowner say, hey, we have too many deer, we got to solve this, and then 5 minutes later a hunter will come up, I have nowhere to hunt, I want to hunt doe, I have nowhere to hunt. So we got to link those two together. So the hunters were telling us they didn't know where the ag tag properties were. They wanted to have a clearer line of communication to see where are these properties located. They had some obstacles in getting tags, whether it's, we used to have a 4 tag limit per hunter, that's been since removed. Which is a great step in the right direction. But hey, I went to this farm, I found it, and you all are busy, especially in the summertime months, so they show up if they find the right address and they're not down the road or something like that, and then you're not home and busy, so then they turn around and go home and they never got a tag. So how do we bridge that gap? Technology they brought up to us, and then processing issues. Hey, if I shoot a deer in August, or more importantly, we heard, I don't want to shoot a deer in August because it's 85 degrees outside and I don't want to have to deal with processing it in the heat. So how can we look to find some solutions to solve for that? So that's kind of the ground floor of where we started with that feedback. And with it, we decided on the Certified Hunter program. I'll say we emulated some of this. There's a few states, Washington State, Montana, they have a Master Hunter program. we took some parts of that Master Hunter program to help build this out, but we went with certified because, oh, there's nobody reading that. We went with certified because we don't want this program to be restrictive to hunters. We want it to be hunters that you all can trust to be on your landscape, but not necessarily the 95th percentile hunter that spends their life as a guide or an outfitter or whatever the case may be. We want quality, ethical, safe, responsible hunters on your farm, which is why we went with certified and didn't go with that Master Hunter name. So what we decided was, how do we let you all as landowners feel comfortable with getting hunters on your property to harvest deer and that you feel safe with them? So the feedback we got from landowners were background checks. Don't want felons or people that have a history of game law code violations on our farm. So if you're a hunter, you have to pass a criminal background check. You will do a 10-year check on your game law history code, based, any game law violations, things of that nature. You have to have purchased a PA hunting license for the last 5 years. So you're going to get experienced hunters. If they do that, then we will be sending them basically a curriculum, a study guide. It takes a few hours to work through. We're still adding things to it. So I got some feedback yesterday. I'm like, that would be a great thing to add into the curriculum for our hunters. So we're open to any feedback there. But they go through the curriculum and then they take this test. It's online. It's 100 questions. It's very heavy on landowner relations, how to treat land that's not yours, how to respect land. There's questions in there about whitetail hunting efficiency. Ag tag hunting is a little different than big woods. If you're in the north central and you have a hunting camp, that's a different kind of hunting than coming here and, hunting on a farm, So we talked about that. Obviously regulations with the program, how to follow the law, things of that nature. And then some common sense. We put some scenarios in there. You get confronted by somebody, you see a gate open, you shoot a deer, but it's on the other side of the farm. Should you drive your truck through it? Things that maybe seem common sense to us, but aren't to people that aren't on a farm. They might just see a field that doesn't look like anything's planted in it, and they drive right through it, but without knowing it could have been planted or winter wheat or any of the cases. So we built that out. They pass it. They get an 85%. Then they move on to the next step, which is their shooting test. So they'll come out to a shooting range. Ed Sadler, I don't believe Ed is here. Partnership with Ed on getting us on some local game and fish ranges to have shooting test qualifications. So everybody that would be in this program as a hunter will have to come out and qualify with either a rifle, a bow, or a shotgun. They can qualify with any combination of that. If they want to do bow and rifle, which is probably the most common we'll see, they can do that. What they have to do is they have to hit a 6-inch pie plate at 100 yards 4 out of 5 times. For a bow, we actually have a 3D like Mackenzie target. So it's a 3D doe, and there's no target on that. They have to know the anatomy of the deer, but they're going to shoot 4 out of 5 arrows at that target. And we have some technology. It's pretty cool. It's you put your phone on it and it superimposes the vitals of the deer. So they have to know where the lungs and where the heart are, and they have to put 4 out of 5 either in the lungs or in the heart. So we did it that way because it's not very realistic to have a square block target out there and say, hey, hit that 6-inch target. That doesn't really simulate what it will be in the field. So they have to know a little bit about the deer anatomy, not just be a good shot. So if they do those things, then they become a certified hunter. Some benefits we're providing those hunters are an Onyx subscription. If people are not familiar with Onyx, Onyx is an app that you have that uses county parcel locator data, but basically it shows everybody where property lines are pretty accurately. So that way if they're on your farm, they could pull out their phone and say, okay, I'm still good, or this is where the property line is, so they're not going on your neighbor's property, shooting on your neighbor's property, things of that nature. We'll be giving them game bags. We have a whole section in our curriculum about how to process deer in the field. I was talking with Randy for Hunters Sharing the Harvest. We have that issue of what do I do with the deer in August? And I truthfully believe that packing your deer out in August is the best way to handle that animal. You can, as opposed to gutting it and dragging it and trying to take it somewhere, it's 80 degrees. We commonly hear that. If we can upskill some of these hunters on how to do what's called the gutless method, or just pack a deer out, similar like you would do out west, shoot an elk out west, you don't drag it out and gut it, you pack it out in your pack. You can do that in about an hour in the field. Game Commission's done a YouTube video on it. We have links to that. So we're trying to get these hunters to, hey, how can they harvest more deer and not be intimidated to go harvest a bunch of deer and be like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with all this meat, or I don't know how I'm going to get it to the processor. I don't want to pay the processor. Trying to get them to take a little bit more responsibility there. So we'll be giving them game bags. We have some, some signage and some placards and things like that, so that if they're on your farm, they'll be able to be identified. So that's on the hunter side. On the landowner side, really all we're asking for is access for these hunters to your property. And in order to address some of the concerns we heard, we want to eliminate tagging as a barrier. So we're working through a few solutions. We don't have them fully baked out yet, but we don't want to allow tagging to become an issue to get on your farm. And one of the issues we hear from hunters is, let's say it's a February day, they get off of work early and, hey, I'd love to go hunting on a farm down there. But if they don't have a tag already physically from you, they'd have to go to your house, hope you're home, get a coupon, run to Walmart, get it printed out and go back out. By that point it's dark, and we found out that hunters simply aren't hunting then. So how do we get them tags ahead of time for your properties? We have a few solutions there. We'll have a solution. I don't exactly know what it will be. We're trying to incorporate some technology into how they report their harvest. Again, not fully baked out, but we should have an answer in the next week or two for that. And then what we'll do if you're interested is we would come out to your farm. I had the privilege of being on a few farms yesterday. We would come out and I would sit down with you. I'd need a half hour to an hour of your time. And we'd go over your farm, and I'd want to learn what rules and regulations you would want in place for your parcel. So you may say, hey, I don't want people hunting during this month. Or, hey, down in that hollow, I'd like to close that off to hunting. We'll build that out. We'll have an iPad. We'll do the GIS work and the mapping system. You can let us know, hey, this is where I want hunters to park. You can park here, you can park there, or only here, whatever the case may be. You might say, I don't want hunters to shoot any buck. I don't want them, here in November. I have family members that hunt. We can customize game species, time of year, time of day, anything of that nature. This is still your land. You still retain all rights as a landowner. We want you to feel comfortable and feel in charge of who's on your land, what they're doing, when, how, things of that nature. So really, at that level, we were thinking, can we get more tags? That's what we heard. We wanted more tags. We wanted more opportunity for hunters. Can we get more tags to those hunters? Can we open up access? And can we let you all as landowners still feel comfortable with the folks that are going to be on your land? So we're kind of looking at that through that two lenses. What we're doing for the hunters, trying to get them upskilled, and then what we're doing for the landowners on the back end. A few things we don't have solved for yet. It's not going to solve everything this year. But what I'll tell you about the program is we are piloting it here in the Southwest only. So it is a little rushed, but it's going to be here in the Southwest. We're hoping we can learn, grow from the program, scale it potentially statewide as early as next year. But we kind of look at this as ground zero, to be honest with you, with this program and this problem. So we're here. We're in all the counties of the Southwest region. We are already beginning to certify hunters. We have had a few hundred applicants already. We're working through them as quickly as we can. That's without even a whole lot of news media on it that we've put out yet, but we're at about 350 or 400 interested hunters, even taking away the denials that didn't meet the eligibility criteria that want to come out. Another thing we're looking for with the hunters too, I'll say, is what their harvest history is. What I have a little fearful of is getting hunters out there that only really want to kill one doe a year, or if that's not going to make a dent in the problem the way we want. So we are taking harvest history into consideration as well as the hunters we get on there. We're looking for those hunters that will donate the meat. We have a whole topic on HSH, Randy's program there, how to donate their meat. But we want those hunters that are willing to harvest and continue to help mitigate this problem. So with that, I know that was very high level. Timeline-wise, this program is going to follow the ag tag dates. Like I said, it's technically starting on August 1st. Our ag tag season runs from August 1st to April 15th. We hope to have and plan to have certified hunters for properties on August 1st ready to go. One of the questions I got that I didn't cover is how will hunters access my land as far as where it is, when they can hunt, things of that nature. So we have a new program, software program, I would say, where hunters can go online, they'll click a link, and they'll basically get a map of the entire state, and there will be a dot. So there'd be a dot on your farm as a certified hunter, and only certified hunters will have a firewall view to see where these certified hunter properties are. So they could put their location in, they can see all the farms, landowners that have signed up around them. They could click it and they'll see the acreage you have, they'll see an outline of your parcel, where your property lines are, they'll see where to park. That landowner usage guide will be right there where they can see, okay, here's the rules and regs to hunt your farm. The other thing we're trying to incorporate is a reservation system into how they get on your property. For a few reasons. What we'd like to do is, if they want to hunt your farm, they could go in, they could see, is anybody hunting this farm today? No, okay, I'm going to reserve August 17th, that's the day I want to hunt. I'm going to reserve that time for myself. Depending on how large your farm is and how many hunters you want on it, there might be 5 reservation spots, there might be 15, there might be 2. It just depends on the parcel size and what you want as a landowner. But we're trying to mitigate the feedback we've heard of, hey, I tried to do ag tag, but there were 7 trucks there at the farm that I went to the first day, and then I never know if I should hunt it. I don't know what the time of day is, and that creates frustration for hunters, and which in turn then doesn't keep them hunting your property. The other thing it will allow us to do is help influence hunters to space out their pressure for your farms. We, in a perfect world, would not want 15 hunters on your farm the first week of ag tag. We'd want 15 hunters spread out over maybe 15 weeks throughout the whole fall season, and then maybe back again in January and February and March, and keep pressure on your farms, keep deer as much as possible out of your fields, and harvest as many deer as possible. The other thing we hear is, once those deer get pressured, if they go nocturnal, then you'll have a hunter show up and be like, oh, there's no deer here anyhow, I'm not going to come back. So how do we spread that pressure out? And then that technology is also going to allow us to give you a report card that we can sit down or email, however you would like, at the end of the year to go over and say, this is how many times your farm was hunted this past year, this is how many deer were harvested, this is the time of year they were harvested, these are the locations, things of that nature, so we can get you that information as a landowner as to what's going on. Some other things you can do is, tree stand usage, blind usage, anything like that, trail cameras. If you want to allow that, don't want to allow that, we'll build that all into that land usage guide, so there's no confusion there. We heard some stories of people building tree stands that didn't have permission to do so. We want to mitigate any of those issues right there.